I am Teah Woodward, an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I'm located in Richland, Washington, and I'm really excited to be here today. I've had some fun creating with some items that I've had for a while, but with some new colors to me. These were colors that were in the Stampin' Up palette previous to me being a demonstrator, and now that they've been reintroduced into the core palette, and I've got them, I am just experimenting. So those colors that I'm going to be playing with today are Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. So before we get started, I'm going to switch over here real quick, and I'm going to make sure that I am showing up in all the places that I need to be showing up in, since I'm just a minute early, or I was trying to be a minute early. And it looks like I'm live there. And so I'm going to try here and make sure my link works. And crossing fingers, and I'm live. Yay! So now I can ignore that screen altogether, and we should be good to go. So let's see, I can move this keyboard out of the way now that all of that has been verified. So there are a few things I can tell you about. So it's a new month. Last time I was on was Memorial Day, so that was at the end of May. And so we're in a new month. I realized just a couple minutes ago, I forgot to print out my host code for June. So you will find that in the description, or in, if you're finding this video posted in my newsletter, you will see my host code in my posted separately in my newsletter, or you will find it in my social media, or you will find it on my blog. So I apologize, it's not posted on my desktop while I'm demonstrating today. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I'm so sorry. All right. One of the things that I wanted to mention is that I am a person that participates with crafty collaborations. And what that means is I am one of several demonstrators that we all participate in, we all contribute a project per month, and those projects are compiled into a tutorial bundle. And then those tutorial bundles are offered to our customers for free with a minimum purchase of $50. And this month, the June tutorial bundle has 47 projects in it. And they're all written out instructions with pictures, etc. And so just wanted to let you know that that is what the June tutorial bundle is. And I'm really happy to participate in that. And my customers seem to really, really like that. They look forward to that. So it seems to really make them want to push their, if they were going to put in a $45 order, they're always sure to bump their order up to that $50 mark so that they get this tutorial bundle, because it's really full of a ton of inspiration. Okay, so wanted to let you know, if you make a purchase with me of $35, say you don't care about the tutorial bundle. If you make a purchase of $35 with me, I will send you a embellishment. It might be gems and it might be ribbon. Every month it changes just a little bit, but that's my gift to you. $35 it has to be above $35 for that to happen. And starting this week, if you have a purchase of $35 or more, I am going to send you the kits to make the 2 cards that I'm making today. And I will show you in my demonstration what those kits look like. So what all is included in those kits. So 1 card of each, and envelopes to go with those. So, and then if you do bump that up to the $50, you would get the embellishment, the kits, and the tutorial bundle. So just saying, letting you know that. Let me get this sticky note out of the way. Stampin' Up! Has a designer series paper sale going on now through the end of June. It's 15% off of designer series paper. You can find those details on the website. Or you can notify me if you have any questions or if you need any assistance at all. I'm more than happy to help. There is also, during the month of June, there's a starter kit promotion. A lot of times people will join Stampin' Up! In order to save some money. I originally did. I ended up staying with Stampin' Up! Because I discovered that I really like to teach and I really enjoy my little side business. But everybody that's been on my team, they are hobby demonstrators. Whoa, I've got a fly right in front of my eyes. Yeah, go away. Okay, he's going to be a bother. It reminds me of American Idol. Did you catch that? Where there was a fly off that landed on the poor singer's forehead? Anyway, that was this year. Anyway, the starter kit. Normally, you get $125 worth of product for $99 and free shipping on that order when you join Stampin' Up! Right now, it's $155 worth of product for $99 and free shipping. So something to consider. And then you get 20% off on your orders if you join Stampin' Up! So that's up to you. If you have any questions, I would be glad to answer your questions. The name of my team is Paper Blessings. We do have monthly team meetings. Occasionally something bumps those around, but we try really hard not to let that happen. Okay, this fly is going to drive me crazy. And then today it was announced that there is a new kit that has been released called Boho Beach. There's 8 cards. Oh my gosh, this fly is going right for my face. 8 cards, 4 of each, 2 designs. They're standard size cards. They're the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch. There's a pecan pie ink spot. Are you familiar with that? That's one of our new colors. It's actually one of my favorite new colors. And I know, probably on camera, this just looks like a brown, but it's not. You know, that's funny. On YouTube, I'm really blurry. I hope I'm not to other people, and I hope it's only to me. Anyway, it's a really beautiful brown. So like I've been stamping branches, and it goes beautiful. In this Boho Beach kit, they've got it with Lost Lagoon, and they've got it with Pool Party. Anyway, check out this color. It's really beautiful. Anyway, there's so in this kit comes this pecan pie ink spot, and there's die cut pieces in there. Anyway, and matching envelopes. I think it was a $22 kit. So something for you to be aware of. All right, let me set that aside. And let's see, I really hope I'm going to close out a couple of these screens and see if... Thank you, Carol. I really appreciate knowing that. Thank you. Well, then I'm not going to keep looking at the picture that I have on my screen because thank you. That helps a ton. All right. I am going to take the camera and point it down, and I am going to try to watch the questions, but I am going to ignore the picture. And I can't wait to show you these cards. So one is simple and one is stepped up. They're very similar. They're the same colors. They're basically the same process. They use a lot of the same elements, but I've gone to a couple of extra steps on the second card. So let me take the camera and turn it down. And just a little bit crooked here. That's not too bad. So this, I'll make this card first. Very simple. We have some layers. We have a Lost Lagoon card base. We have a Pretty Peacock mat, a pool party layer that the card front that I've embossed with the Time Worn Type 3D embossing folder. Then I've used it's called Natural Print Dies to make this wreath. The Nature's Print for the sentiment, and then the Natural Print Dies for the label, and just linen thread and some gems. On the second, on the second one, all the same elements, but I've done some distressing. I've added a second wreath just to bump it up. I've put it up on dimensionals, and I've used a different sentiment. So this is going to go pretty quick, and I hope that you like what I'm about to show you. So here we go. So like I mentioned, the Time Worn Type is what I used for the card front. Let me get this chair out of my way. My hair pulled back in a pony. I have pre-die cut everything. I am going to demonstrate how I made the wreath, but I have blend. I went and got myself all tongue-tied. I'm going to take a sip. I have pre-applied ink to my paper. I have pre-die cut everything. I am going to demonstrate a couple of tips, but everything else has been done, so this should go fairly quickly. So here's the Nature's Prints. The only place you're going to see me use the stamps is, and oh, my husband just got home, and he probably doesn't realize that I'm live and my door is open. So this might get a little bit loud, and I will ask him to shut the door when he comes in. So my apologies, everybody. He's not normally due home right now. Live, right? We're live. Anyway, we have some images and we've got some sentiments. This is just a really nice little standard stamp set. And then we have, these are silhouette dies. Hi, honey. And then we have some detail dies that coordinate. Let me close this door real quick. I'll close the door. Sorry, everybody. Okay, I'm back. All right. I am going to pull out a piece of grid paper so that I don't get my desktop dirty. I'm going to take a blending brush and I'm going to start with my Lost Lagoon. And I've been using this. I'm going to wipe it off with my chamois. There we go. All right, just going to pick up some ink, and it's okay if this turns out blotchy. It's not my intent, but if it does, it's okay. I might have had too much water on my chamois. That's all right. In the end, nobody will be able to tell. This is my work in progress. And I'm just applying Lost Lagoon. And then once I feel like I have enough coverage, I am going to add 3 fairly saturated spots of Pretty Peacock. I normally go live, or my intention is to normally go live on Mondays. Had a doctor's appointment yesterday, and when I got back from yesterday morning, and when I got back from the doctor's appointment, it was obviously electricity had gone out. And when the electricity went out, it knocked out our Wi-Fi. And when I couldn't get the Wi-Fi back on. So it was a bit of an issue. And my husband just left. I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so I've just created 3 saturated spots. And what's fun about this is my whole little chaotic life that just happened is going to live forever on YouTube. Okay. Then I take my detail die, and I liked, my personal preference is these 2 bigger leaves right here. I place them over a couple of these bigger spots if it lays out right, and it kind of does. And I run that through my die machine, my cut and emboss machine, and then this is what I get when I'm all done. Isn't that beautiful? So that was one thing that I wanted to show you. Get this out of the way. And we can proceed with making a card now. Get that blending brush that has all that ink on it out of the way. All right, so our card base is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I am just going to take my bone folder and give that a nice crease. We're really blessed. My husband used to work quite a... What did I just do? I have too many pieces of white paper here now. My husband used to work too many miles away to be able to drop in at home. Let's see. So this one's my card front. So my matte layer for my card front is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Then my card front that I have already embossed is 4 by 5 1/4. Before I adhere these to each other, you're gonna want to make sure that the letters are going the right direction. Feels like I swallowed a feather. Actually, not necessarily before those two get adhered, it's before it gets adhered to the card front. So just real skinny little borders on this card. There's that fly again. Good Lord. Okay. Come on. And I'm just adhering that right down to my card front. So there's just a skinny little border. all the way around. This will be my matte layer for my message liner on the inside. This one is 4 by 5 1/4. So the same size as my card front, but not the same, oops, but not the same size as my matte layer. All of these dimensions will be on my blog post. All of the cutting instructions. Okay, come on. All right. I suspected, so I had already gotten out a new bottle of glue because I know there's glue in that one, but it was starting to gum up on me. When I'm doing a lot of layers on the front, I like to make sure I mat the inside because I like to balance out the weight of my card. I like to make sure my back is as weighted as my front. Maybe not as many layers, but I like to make sure there's a balance. All right. So I am going to just put a few spots of glue on the back of this. If you wanted to, I could have, before I die cut this, I could have put an adhesive sheet on the back of this, but I didn't. So I'm just hitting a few spots. I'm just gluing this one down flat. Anyway, yeah, my internet was out yesterday for quite a while, actually. I think it was like 3 o'clock before it came back on. Went to go to the, it must have been quite a area that had the outage because I went to the pharmacy to pick up a new prescription and they were closed because of the power outage. And that was hours later. We had already been restored at that point. I guess it happens. I never did hear why it happened. Okay, so we have our simple little wreath on the front already. I'm going to stamp my sentiment on the label that I've already pre-die cut. Normally I stamp and then die cut so that I can make sure everything gets centered just right. This time I decided to roll the dice and take a chance. If I mess up, I have extra scrap here so that I can do it the way I normally do it. Let's see. That turned out okay. Let's clean off my stamp before I set it down. I'll put some dimensionals on the back of this sentiment. There we go. And I am going to just stick that right about there. I am going to grab my linen thread and pull off enough to tie a double bow. Oops. So in the kit, I will pre-tie the bow for you.
we go. You know, my husband didn't look like he was in a very good mood, so I hope everything's okay. It's hot out. Could be he's running around for work and just had to stop by for refreshment or something. That's a decent size. Let's see, let's tighten that back up and scooch it back down. I am due to receive some goodies from Stampin' Up! Today. I am excited to get that. I use a mini glue dot to attach this. And I'm just going to stick it right there. Trim it up. I always do this a little different on camera than I do if I'm not on camera. All right. Some of the benefits of joining Stampin' Up! Is there are, when there's going to be new products released, you get to buy the products ahead of time. So what's called an early product release or early pre-order period. We're in one of those right now for online exclusives that will be released in July. That is not what I have arriving tomorrow or today. I have catalog stuff arriving today. But if I had, that's what I could have had. There we go. I'm using the clay end of my Take Your Pick tool to grab some of my gems and put them on here. Oops. And just place them where I want them. Now, depending on how many people end up getting kits, I have one set of kits that are ready to go out the door now because somebody placed an order last night. Depending on how many kits go out the door, I might have to substitute these for the gold sequins, but we'll see. And then I was going to sprinkle on this card. It's a little bit more plain. I used a bit more of the gems. Oops. And now to do the message liner, and I have to double check and see, is this the right piece of paper or did I use the wrong one for, nope, I did it. Here we go. So now I need to stamp something on the inside. And I think I am just going to use part of this greenery here. Or actually I like the fern. I've always loved this fern. I always kind of seem to fall back on it. And I need a block. I think I'm going to use Lost Lagoon just to kind of pull my front colors in a little bit more. Not too heavy on the inside. I'm going to test it on my, oh yeah. There we go. So we are about to finish. Oops, card number 1. Forgot that I had the new glue. And we will move on to card number 2, which is basically the same card, but with a few enhancements. Oh, I made a mess on that. Oh, darn. Okay, I will show you how to fix that. Since I've already got glue on here, I would have just flipped it over if I had noticed it, but I didn't notice it. I better clean that off. Okay, I'm gonna have to let that dry, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a sand eraser, which I had sitting out because I needed it earlier for something else entirely. I'll find it. Remember those old erasers that we used to use in typing class when we made a mistake? Something very similar to that. And I'll just take off that little dinky halo of ink that's right there. I swear it should be right here. I should be able to see it. I know it wasn't very far. Anyway, okay, card number 1, done. Card number 2. So I'm not going to re-demonstrate how to make the wreath. Done that. The one thing that's a little bit different is that I used a different sentiment. Oh, do I have a gem on the back of my finger? Here we go. A fancy wort. I used a different sentiment, and I pulled this from the Charming Sentiments. So I don't know about you guys, but the month of June, we have birthdays, graduations. We've got somebody that lost a family member. I'm forgetting something. I have a whole long list of cards that I need to send. Oh, somebody that's retiring. So I need a smattering of a bunch of different kinds of cards. So I pulled in Charming Sentiments. And I pulled from the Wishing You the Happiest of Birthdays right here. And then we have these coordinating dies that do all the fussy cutting for us. And so that I've already stamped and die cut this, and it's all ready to go. So that's where that came from. Come on, just move to one side, pretty please. All right, so same dimensions, 8.5, 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and do my crease. This is where things get different. So our matte layer is the same as before. Let's make sure there's that fly again. Make sure this is the correct one. It is. So we've got, this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then this is the 4 by 5 1/4. It's already been embossed. So I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to take a bone folder and I'm just going to stretch the paper just a little bit, one way and then the other way, and I'm going to do it on all 4 sides. And I'm not doing anything crazy rough. I'm just stretching it. I'm just kind of breaking down the fibers a little bit. I'm just doing all 4 sides. There's not a mathematical equation for that. Okay, and you can see it's just all kind of warbly. And then I'm going to take my paper snips, and I'm not going to use the inside blade because then I could actually end up cutting my paper. I'm going to use the outside edge, this firm edge that has a sharp edge, but it's not sharp like the blade. And I am going to run it, and I'm just kind of linting up the edge of the paper. That's all I'm doing. I'm just kind of distressing it. You can do it a lot or you can do it a little. It's really just softening it up and making it kind of linty, making it kind of look almost a little bit fabric-y. And I'm going to do that on all of the sides. And you really feel the integrity of the paper start to change. And you hear it too. And I do it on both sides. And then one more over here. Doesn't take that long. It sounds tedious, but how long have I spent? Have I spent even 2 full minutes yet? Between curling and bending and scraping the edge. I don't think I've spent that long. It's pretty quick. And because I wanted my mat to look similar but not all bent necessarily, I just wanted it softened, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the same thing to the edge with just the scissors but not the bone folder. But before I do that, I am going to take my bone folder and I'm going to curl up one corner and I'm going to curl down the opposite corner. Here we go. And then I'm going to just take this and just lint. I don't know if there may be another word for this, distress, I guess. I'm just linting up the edge of the paper, softening the edge. I'm not going to do it to the edge of the card base. I'm just doing it to the matte layer on the front of the card, not to the inside of the card. I tried just doing it to this layer and putting this on just straight cut, and it was okay. I didn't care for it. I thought it looked a little too unfinished. Just softening that edge of the paper. Oh, you lost power too, okay. Yeah. And when you lost power even later than the pharmacy did, and you're just down the street from my pharmacy. Okay, and one more edge, and then I can adhere these together. I'm not normally a person that distresses their paper and such. This is kind of a new thing for me. All right, now get this out of the way. And now I am going to adhere and make sure my letters are going the right way. I'm not going to put glue in that corner that I was trying to fold or curl. I'm not going to try to make it look like I'm making this flat, super hard and flat. I wanted it to look more textured and more like it had body, personality, I guess. And now that is ready to be adhered to the front of my card base. I really, really, really love this pool party with the Lost Lagoon and the pretty peacock. It was everything it took for me to not pull in golds and silvers to keep this a little bit more dialed down. All right, now for my wreath, I decided and pulled it back over here. My sample. So I wanted my wreath to be a little bit more pumped up instead of flat. So I decided, originally I made it 2 layers, and I was going to just lay one on top of the other just to make it a thicker wreath. And then I was going to put it up on dimensionals. But when I laid it on top of each other and it was offset, I really loved how it made that fuller look. And so that's how I ended up with that. It was just by accident, and it was perfect for me. So that is what I'm going to do again. And I'm just going to put a few drops of adhesive on the back of the top layer. I forgot to look before I went online to see what the temp is actually right now. Let's see. Let's see if this is something about like that. Ish. There we go. And then I'm going to flip it over, and I am going to put on several mini dimensionals, and I'm going to try really hard to put them in locations that I think that they will not show through. That's my goal. So there's no math to it. There's no, you know, every so many inches or anything like that. It's really where I'm looking, and where I think there's enough layers where they're not going to show. I hope that makes sense. But hopefully close enough together that they're going to hold up the wreath and it won't collapse. Okay, one more. I'm going to squeeze in right there. All right, now pull off those backs. We're actually really close again, friends. How am I doing? Am I going to make my... trying really hard to do this in under an hour. Which is why I pre-die cut everything. I I really need to know if the people watching, if the viewers watching really want to see the die cutting. I'm going to need to know that so that I can start planning that in. But let's see. So I'm going to place that about like such. There we go. And then we are going to use, where did that, here it is. We've got our sentiment all ready to go. So on this end, because I've used dimensionals, I'm only going to use one layer of dimensionals here, and then over on this end, I'm going to use 2 layers of dimensionals so that it doesn't collapse. So I'm going to continue using the minis. My hands are a little bit sweaty, and so everything is starting to stick to them. It's warm in here. My fan has 2 speeds, and I've got it on the lower speed because I was worried that the higher speed was too loud on video. May have to find a way to adjust that. Okay, that's sticking to my thumb or fingernail. Whoops. Let's see, that's going to show. Gotta fix it. Gotta fix it. There we go. All right. Take off all the backs. See how fast that was? And even considering applying the ink and die cutting, it really is quite fast. And instead of using linen thread, if you wanted to use the gold thread or the silver thread, it'd be gorgeous. There we go. 2 of my daughters have birthdays this month. Okay, now another linen bow, linen thread bow. Does everyone have as many activities going on as we do this month? It's crazy pants. There we go. That's a good looking bow. And now before I attach this one, I'm going to trim it. Mini glue dot. And again, they're very, very similar, just one is stepped up. Come on. And need us just, because this one already has more going on, I'm using fewer gems. So we're going to put one there. And now I just need to do the inside of the card. Pretty, right? That's so pretty. And I'm going to use the fern again, and I'm going to be more careful this time. That's better. So all that little bit of chaos I had going on at the beginning of the video, has that happened to anybody else? Or is my house just special? Okay, I picked up the old one. Here's the new one. Or do we all have a little bit of stuff happen when we least expect it? Try to craft and it starts off in fits and spurts. There we go. And ta-da! Well, what do you think? A little different than my norm, but did you like it? Did you like these cards today? I hope. I hope you did. And like I said, with a purchase of $35 or more, I've got kits that I will send out. And if you are the person that happened to buy something last night, I already have your kits ready to go. And I thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful day and big hugs to you all. Bye.